to what extent was the general path of 101 on the Oregon coast based on Native American trails that were existing already at that time?
Well, you're right. Long before 101 and long before any settlers arrived, I mean, Native Americans, indigenous people have been living in the Oregon country since time immemorial.
Right.
With their trade routes and traveling routes and many right along the coast. And they kind of created the first transportation system, so to speak, back then.
And it would make sense because they would have to follow the natural topography in the most efficient way, whether it be on foot or horseback or however they might be moving, and that sort of translated at some point into what the automobiles were doing.
Eventually, yeah, centuries and centuries later.
Yeah,
so, And then, but much of the early transportation, as you can see here, was the beach. The way to get from north to south or south to north along the Oregon coast was on the beach during low tide.
Wow.
And so you see here's an actual photo of a stage line. That's how you got from Newport to Walport back then during low tide.
But you had to wait.
You had to wait till low tide.
I'm sure they must have gotten stuck. Or
I'm sure many did.
So it was 1926 when it was designated as a highway, but the completion wasn't until later.
Wasn't until a few more years after that. And it started, of course, the construction before that. Originally as a military highway was the proposal. Back then they needed military highways to move troops up and down the coast if you needed to.
Wow.
But then it became a state road, and then the federal government in 1926 said, no, it's Highway 101. It's a federal highway. So.
And by then automobiles were much more common. And
much more common.
The future was becoming clear that that's how we were going to be getting around.
But the road's still very sketchy. I mean, from the beach, you've then moved to gravel or to planks were the first roads, and it took a while for actual, concrete type roads to be built.
Yeah, I know that there's that great road out in the gorge, Marina Point, and there's actually a plaque that says this road was specifically designed for its scenic beauty and to be enjoyed for its natural beauty. To what extent do you feel like 101 had that same vision to take advantage of some of the vistas?
You're right, there was vision of that because the State Parks Department also got involved and putting state parks near where the road was going to be, near 101, so people could stop and see them. And obviously the beauty and the scenery speaks for itself. And originally, Tony, where there were rivers, where rivers came and entered into the ocean, you had to cross the rivers.
Yeah.
It was a ferry system.
Oh, wow.
Before bridges were built.
Wow.
You could drive to the end there, get on the ferry, go across the river. Took a long time.
Yeah, and there's 5 main bridges, right?
5 main bridges, but the jewel of the bridge system are the McCullough bridges.
Yeah.
Conde McCullough, who was the state bridge builder, 14 of them up and down on the Oregon coast, and we have a little tribute to him here, and a little mini bridge that you'll see in a bit that we built. 14
bridges in total, but there's 5 that sort of rise to the top.
Right, you've got the beautiful Coos Bay Bridge. I grew up in Reedsport on Highway 101. I can't tell you the number of times I went over that bridge. Of course, the Astoria Bridge coming in from Washington State that begins 101 in Oregon.
Which is, to me, the biggest roller coaster in the world.
That
thing scares
it is, especially during windy times. So, but 14 bridges designed by Conde McCullough, who worked for the Oregon Highway Department, was their bridge engineer and bridge builder, and they are really iconic.
And don't you feel like at that time, structures like this were built with a much more artistic sense, and less about efficiency and as much about
more
artistry.
About beauty and artistry. You're right. Yeah. This is our little recreation of the bridge over the Siuslaw River in Florence. So.
I love those cars. So. Yeah. I mean, really, that era was so notable for just the design factor. Now everything is like, how cheap can we build it?
And more utilitarian and less, more functional, less decorative. So to show you how far we've come, Tony, this was the Oregon Highway System in 1920. Wow. Now the black lines are paved roads. The red lines are unpaved roads. Wow. Whether they're dirt or mud or gravel or whatever. And you can see 9-to-1. I mean, the road system in Oregon in 1920 was not paved.
And I mean, the cars were just barely becoming a thing at that point.
A little more popular then by 1920, but just coming into, obviously, all the highways here, or all the roads, you could see, cars were being used. And the state highway department was really a push behind getting Oregon a little more modern. Get Oregon out of the mud was their tagline, their slogan. Let's get Oregon out of the mud. And you can see how much mud there would have been back then. Anything east of the mountains was not paved.
Wow, and just you think of the weather and the winters and I mean the kind of conditions and to maintain those roads.
Right.
I mean, was there an organized entity that was taking care of them and maintaining them?
Well, it would have been the state highway department. We were one of the first states to have a highway department and one of the first states to enact a gas tax.
Oh, wow.
To pay for the roads.
Smart. Well, I was going to say, I mean, people gripe about paying taxes, but if it weren't for state and federal taxes, we wouldn't have
wouldn't have had the
101.
highway system. Exactly.
Exactly, yeah. It's a great shot here. Is this Haystack Rock? Looks like it. Which one is this? Yeah. Yeah. So you know, obviously the coast is known for its beauty, but I mean, huge challenges in terms of just the design and how you're going to get A to B, right?
Exactly. Huge challenges involved tunnels, building some tunnels, involved dynamite. Involved camps of workers living on site for months at a time. It took longer. Many places it took longer than they first imagined because of the difficulty, because of the weather. As you got into the Depression era, then many of these were WPA projects. Out of the Roosevelt administration.
Right.
So, but lots of people coming out here, living again on site in camps with their families.
Yeah. And that served a dual purpose because you were having the highway built, but you were also
giving people jobs
the economy
during the Depression.
Wow.
So, it would be difficult with today's machinery to build this road.
Yeah.
But look what they had to do with machinery back then.
I imagine at this point it must have been paved over numerous times and some slight alterations, I would imagine, as the years have gone by.
Yes, and as they built 101, they had to redirect it at the ferry spots, where there used to be the ferries, you got rid of those, and built these bridges. So
there's that great spot on 101 South when you're coming into Cannon Beach and you get that first little glimpse of the Pacific Ocean. I mean, I still get a thrill on that stretch of the highway.
Everyone has their favorite spot, especially up and down the north coast and the central coast, with the views there.
What is it about the culture that pops up along 101? You think you can go north-south on I-5 or you can go north-south on 101, but the culture is completely different. What is it about that beach life that we love so much?
It's slower, it's calmer, and certainly I-5 has some nice viewpoints, but you can't beat Highway 101 as far as sheer stunning scenery, where every couple miles you just can't believe what you're seeing. So.
Yeah, if you're choosing to go from, let's say, Portland to Northern California, if you're choosing 101, there are very specific reasons.
Right, you're choosing 101 for speed.
Right.
It's going to be quicker.
I-5, yeah.
Yeah, you're choosing I-5 for speed. You're choosing 101 for pleasure.
Yeah.
For scenery, for golf. Yeah, if you're a golfer with Bandon Dunes now, and we have a little tribute to that over here, being one of the leading golf resorts in the world.
Yeah, and good eats the whole way.
And good eats the whole way. If you like seafood. So upstairs, we've got the history of Highway 101. And here now in this, our photo gallery, we contracted with one of Oregon's leading landscape photographers, Peter Marbach. Start in Brookings, go to Astoria, or vice versa, get all the best photos of Highway 101 today. As opposed to the history of it. But here are some of the iconic views from Highway 101 up and down the 363 miles that run through Oregon. That's how long Highway 101 is in Oregon.
Wow. Yeah, these really do tell the story, don't they? Yeah. And I mean, it's interesting because you think this is a landscape, but here you get the little glimpse there. That's the highway right there, peeking over the edge.
That's what we told him. You can't go far off 101. We've got things you can see either from 101 or very close to 101.
Did he realize he was the luckiest photographer in the world to get this assignment?
I think so.
Wow, that's great.
But from some of the hot tourist spots, you got the Tillamook Cheese Factory over here.
Yeah.
The beautiful lighthouse. Of course, you have to have a lighthouse photo. The wildlife, from the sea lions to the elk over here that you see.
Is it unusual that we celebrate a road? I mean, in the course of...
I suppose it is. I mean, because you don't think of celebrating I-5, but this Highway 101 is such a part of the Oregon DNA, I think, of what makes Oregon is the coast, or proximity to the Pacific.
And really built the culture along, not just in terms of the economy, but the culture.
Oh, absolutely. The economy, the culture. And think about before Highway 101, if you wanted to go from, say, Seaside to Tillamook, you would have to come in land again, and then go back, come in and then go back out to get to Tillamook from that separate road before they built the Highway 101.
Such a huge transformation, and the ease of access. Then I imagine the snowball and they brought more people out there and able to enjoy it.
And nowadays you have, when flooding occurs and you can't get north and south on 101 in so many places, how that impacts the economy of the coast.
And you realize what it was like before we had
it.
One of the fun facts you'll learn at this exhibit is that Highway 101 runs through the town of Rockaway Beach, where in 1929 the Pronto Pup, or corn dog, was invented. I'd eat this one, but it's frozen. Tony Martinez, Fox 12 Oregon.